Let us very first look at paper 1. Question 1. Identify 7 literary forms that were used in the writing of the Bible. 7 marks. We have the wise sayings. We have the legislative text, so you can call them legal expressions. We have the prophetic speeches. Yes, sir. Barak. Okay. Prophetic speeches, philosophical essays, prayers, poetry, gospels, love songs, epistles or letters. People were writing very funny answers. Very funny. You were writing actually the examples instead of the literary forms. So you say Songs of Solomon. No, you're supposed to say love songs. Question 1b, state 7 similarities in the biblical stories of creation in Genesis chapter 1 and 2. 7 similarities in the biblical stories of creation. There's someone who wrote the differences. I did not understand. Similarities, zinafanana vipi? So you should start all your answers in both. In both, God is the sole creator. In both, human beings are given responsibility over God's creation. In both accounts, human beings are special beings. In both stories, God is the source of life. In both, God is self-existence. That is, God existent even before what? Creation. In both, human beings are portrayed as superior with higher dignity. In both, God created male and female separately. In both stories, all created things depend on God for sustenance. That is, God is portrayed as a provider. And there was a lot of repetition in that question. Question 1c, outline the causes of evil in Kenya today. 6 marks. We have poverty. Yes. Wealth or affluence, that is another cause of evil. Corruption, or you say greed, it's the same thing. Selfishness is the same thing, or lust. Disobedience, inability to forgive others, influence from mass media, wrong choices, unemployment, permissiveness in the society, that is too much freedom, drugs and substance abuse, poor role model, lack of guidance and counseling, or you can just basically call it poor upbringing. Question 2a, describe how the Israelites broke the covenant they had made with God at Mount Sinai, as we read in Exodus chapter 32, verse 1 to 30. Can we read how the Israelites broke the covenant? You are told to describe. That is, you're supposed to like narrate, right? Yes.
When the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, the people gathered themselves together to Aaron and said to him, "Up, make us gods, who shall go before us? As for this Moses, the man who brought us out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." And Aaron said to them, "Take off the rings of gold which are in the earrings of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me." So all the people took off the rings of gold which were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. And he received the gold at their hands, and fashioned it with a graving tool, and made a molten calf. And they said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt." When Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow shall be a feast to the Lord. And they rose up early on the morrow, and offered burnt offering and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down and ate and drank and rose up to play. And the Lord said to Moses, Go down, for your people whom you brought up out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made themselves a molten calf, and have worshipped it and sacrificed to it, and said, These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. And the Lord said to Moses, I have seen these people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may burn hot against them, and I may consume them. But of you I will make a great nation.
But Moses besought the Lord his God and said, O Lord, why does thy wrath burn hot against thy people, whom thou hast brought out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians say, with evil intent did he bring them forth, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them on the face of the earth? Turn from thy fierce wrath, and repent of this evil against thy people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou didst swear to by thine own self, and didst say to them, I will multiply your descendants and the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have promised I will give to your descendants, and they shall inherit it forever. And the Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do to his people. And Moses turned at that time from the mountain with the two tables of the testimony in his hands, tables that were written on both sides, on the one side and on the other were they written. And the tables were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, graven upon the tables. When Joshua heard the noise of the people's deported, he said to Moses, There is a noise of war in the camp. But he said, It is not the noise of shouting for victory, or the sound of the cry of defeat, but the sound of singing that I hear. And soon as he came near the camp and saw the fire and the dancing, Moses angered was hot, and he drew the tablets out of his hands and broke them at the foot of the mountain, and took the calf which he had made, and burnt it with fire, and ground it to powder, and scattered it upon the water, and made the people of Israel drink it.
So how they broke it, that is what we are interested in. So Moses had gone up the mountain to seek for God's guidance or for God's instruction. Then Aaron had been left in charge of the people. Moses delayed in returning, or you can just say the people became impatient. Israelites asked Aaron to make them a god that would lead them. So Aaron yielded to the demands of the Israelites, and he made them a what? A golden calf to worship. There's someone who told me golden bull. Check your paper. There's someone who told me about a bull. Someone told me a cow. Just check your papers. I read all of them. Aaron built an altar at the foot of the mountain and put the calf. The people worshipped the calf, and they also made sacrifices to it. God was angered, and he said to destroy the Israelites, but Moses interceded on behalf of the people. And when Moses came down from the mountain, he was angry with the people and broke the stone tablet on which the 10 Commandments were written. Israelites were given a chance to choose between following Yahweh or the golden calf. And those who followed the golden calf were done what? Were killed, or you can say they were destroyed. Question 2b. Give 6 differences between Jewish and traditional African practices of circumcision. So you are supposed to say This is what happens in the Jewish what? Circumcision practice. Whereas this is what happens in the African. You should show the difference. In the Jewish community, circumcision is for the male only. Whereas in the African practices, it is for the male and what? Female. Among the Jews, circumcision is performed on babies of 8 days old. Whereas in the traditional African communities, it is done to adolescents. In African communities, circumcision is carried out during specific seasons, while among Jews, it is a continuous process. There are no seasons, so it is a continuous process. It is a communal practice among the African communities, but in the Jews, or with the Jews, only members of the immediate family participate. Circumcision is strictly religious ritual among the Jews. It is a religious ritual among the Jews, whereas among the Africans, it is both religious and cultural ritual. Jewish circumcision is a test of faith and commitment to God. So we are saying that in the Jews, that is in the Jewish circumcision is a test of faith and commitment to God. However, African circumcision is a test of courage, whether you're brave or you can even endure. Among the Jews, there was no seclusion. There was no seclusion period after circumcision. While there is a seclusion period, and it is compulsory in the African traditional society. So those are the differences, and there were many others that you wrote that were good, that I accepted. Others were so wrong. There were those who are saying in the Jewish community it is only doing what? Circumcision is only in the male organ, right? Whereas in the African, it is in the what? There is also removing of the what? Teeth or tattooing of the body. It's very correct. There are very many points that I agree that are correct, and they are not here. Question 2C, outline the relevance of God's promises to Abraham to Christians today. Here you are being asked, people did not understand this question. From God's promises to Abraham, as Christians, what do we believe? Or what do we get from it? You should say Christians believe that God fulfills the promises he makes to his people. So Christians also believe that they are descendants and they are heirs of Abraham by faith. Christians also believe that there is nothing impossible with what? With God. There is nothing impossible with God. Also, Christians are assured of God's protection. And Christians enter into a new and everlasting covenant with God through Jesus Christ. And Christians are called to live their past sinful lives. Question 3A. Outline 6 ways that King David used to promote the worship of God in Israel. You should actually, when you're writing answers, because I'm going to mark the work that you're going to do. The points you're not only not going to write these 6 points that I'm going to give you. They are not even 6. I'm going to give you 7, 8. But you're going to go and get a K.I.E. book and you write all those ways that show there are about 10 from the KLB. Is it the KLB or K.I.E.? You write them in your book, because how can you forget? And this question is usually repeated over and over. Yes? Number 1, he brought the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem. The Ark of the Covenant contained the 10 commandments and was kept in the seclusion of the tabernacle called the Holies. So you just say he brought the Ark of the Covenant back to Jerusalem. I give you. So he also made Jerusalem a holy city, or you can just say he made Jerusalem the center of what? Worship. That is how it is written even in the KLB. Yes. He composed psalms which were used in worship of Yahweh. He wanted to build a temple of God. He wanted to, he did not. Yes, he wanted to. He repented whenever he made mistakes. There were people who were saying, yes, he committed adultery with Uriah's wife, but he went ahead, which was good. He built altars.